Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is another business chat night with my good friend, Dr. Drax. Good evening, Drax.
Hey, John, how are you? It's good to see you.
Doing well, doing very, very well. Hey, I've been getting some great feedback on our first couple of shows where we've basically been just kind of digging into what it means to run a business.
Well, and that's exciting because if you surf on Facebook much, you see over and over threads about pricing, telling people, well, if you charge more, you don't have clients that give you problems. That's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
You get problematic clients at every price point.
Yeah.
The real problems come about because people are inadequately prepared to answer those problems either through performance or through their business. And this is why you and I have started this chat, is to develop the idea of how you set up your business, how you structure it, how you plan and prepare to deal with each of these things as they arise.
Yeah.
How you set a price. So many DJs, it's like, this is how they're setting their price.
Yeah, for sure. I've got a couple of dice. I'm going to, look at there.
Yeah, exactly. Or somebody on the internet in a completely remote part of the country from them will tell them they need to triple their rates with no idea about what that person's market demographics are, what their market opportunity index is, what their cost of operations are. Clearly, these things all have to come into play.
Very much so.
Because you can't really say, oh, you need to triple your price unless you really work in that person's market and understand that market. Because we can say it anecdotally, sure, as a motivation to someone to succeed. But to really push that, we really have to help them. And that's what we're going to do with this process. And this course we're laying out is lay out the steps of how you build a business.
Yeah.
I think some of the feedback was really wanting to get into because I'm a big advocate of a written business plan. And everybody says, show me your plan. And I go, no. I don't want to show you my plan, but we'll talk about how you make your plan.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if I simply give you my plan and you simply replicate it, you may not be successful because I had different goals and objectives, and the tools that I used to achieve those objectives may not be right for your business. They may not fit your working model. They may not fit your work ethic.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the things that some people look at is that there's a one size fits all, when really it's the business plans can vary so much. Even when you look at large corporate business plans, they can vary so much, and it's not because of the different types of company, but it's just really how people think and how the people work their way through the thought process of how to run the business.
Well, exactly. I mean, does anyone really believe that the business plan that Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs created when they founded Apple is the same business plan that existed prior to Steve Jobs passing or today in Tim Cook's administration? Or is Coca-Cola and Budweiser's business plans identical? I mean, they're both beverages.
Yep. But
it would seem like it, but they're not. They're completely different, because to be successful, the business plan has to be uniquely focused on the company, on its products, services, its management, its team, its objectives, and its marketing differences, its marketing comparisons. The whole list of things we'll get into one by one.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is, for those watching, we'll be talking about business plan. We're just going to kind of do an overview of a business plan tonight, because the area of business plan, I think if we really got into it, Drax, we could start talking right now, and we'd probably still be talking tomorrow. And we may not really have gotten through all the little nuances of developing a business plan, because there's just so much behind it.
Yeah, actually, we'd probably still be talking at the Las Vegas DJ show in September.
August.
That's how much, yes, August. That's how much there is to cover. And I don't want people to be intimidated by this. It's just, it's eating an elephant one bite at a time. It's taking a look at things and moving logically and methodically through your plan, in structuring the plan so that you achieve maximum success. It's not really difficult, but it can be lengthy.
Yeah. Because
there's a lot of parts, and some people will say, oh, that part doesn't apply to me. Well, they all apply to you. You have to really have a justification to skip a part so that you clearly have asked yourself all the key critical questions, why is that part in a business plan? Why should it be a rudimentary part of a business plan?
Yeah, that's for sure. So, Drax, let's just jump right into it now. We're going to be covering, we're going to be laying out kind of a 7-point. This is kind of a sample business plan, gang. So we'll put the topic of which ones we're talking about. We'll put that right below us here, so you can kind of keep up with us as we're going. So, Drax, start us out now. A typical business plan. What's our first section?
The first section is the outline. That kind of is this is our company and this is what we do. You start with an executive summary. The summary summarizes the business. It also summarizes the management style and the management people running the company. That's why it says executive summary. It's the short syllabus of what the business does, what the company does, and how it's operated. Mm-hmm. It covers its objectives. What's its purpose? Its mission. Too many people confuse mission with mission statement. A mission statement is the outgrowth of what your mission is.
Yeah.
And then in that executive summary or that outline is your keys to success. What is the key to success? In other words, what is it that you really have to do for that business to be successful?
And I like to think about the executive summary. You know, the summary basically, in my ideas, it's kind of a brief overview. And of course, when you think the executive part of it, I always think to myself, I'd never like to waste the time of executives when I'm, say, talking about corporate events, because I don't want to offend them. So just a short summary of really most of the information of what's to come in the business plan.
Exactly. A paragraph. That's an executive summary. One paragraph.
Yep, it's not a full page. It's
not a full page. It's not everybody's CV or everybody's bio. It's John Young is the president of Disc Jockey News. Lori Young is the chief financial officer. And that gets more into section 2, but it's a brief outline, mostly focused on what it is the company does.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got our brief summary to start us off. What's section 2?
Section 2 gets into more of the company details, the company summary, where it is. If it's a current company, what's its history? Who owns the company? How is the company structured? Company history for an ongoing company would include certainly financials. It would include what your plan was. If it was a startup company, you'd be looking at your startup process, what you perceived your history to be, your future, and where you came from to get to this point of starting a company.
And I think things like this, now this might be a time where people are like, oh, why do I need to write on there that, I'm a sole proprietor? But I think that it's part of the process, and I think it's also one of the important things to just be putting these things down on paper. Sometimes even in our thought process just kind of legitimizes to a level that we haven't been to before.
No, absolutely. That's completely correct. It allows us to codify what our business is. I get DJs calling the ADJA offices and ask, what does it matter if I'm a sole proprietor, an LLC, an Inc., a limited partner? It matters a lot.
Yeah, it definitely does.
It matters in the decision-making process. It matters in the statements of ownership. It matters in how it's managed. One of the other things that typically is in the second section is the company location and facilities. Now, if you're a multi-system company, you most likely have an office, a warehouse. Some single system operators will have their own office and warehouse, and that's defined. Mm-hmm. Our office is located at 20118 North 67th Avenue, Suite 300-605, yada, yada, yada. Those things are added when they're important.
Yeah.
If you work out of your house, I don't think that's a relevant, important piece.
Yeah, probably not as much. But again, it's always good, and this is something I tell my kids, it's always good to be thorough, and it's always good to do these steps as they're suggested, because there's people who have probably a lot smarter than me and you and us together that have come up and put these things together and said, this is a good idea.
Well, exactly. And most of the things we're going to talk about is tried and true methodologies for business success.
Yeah. Now, Drax, we just went through section 1 and 2 of the business plan, and there's a lot here, gang. So we decided to divide this up into 3 segments. Now, next week we're going to get, next time we're going to get into the next section, which would be our 3, 4, and 5. Now, what are we going to be talking about next time, Drax?
We're going to talk about products and services. That's where we're going to basically flesh out what it is you offer. And then we're going to talk about market analysis summary. That's just what it says, an analysis of your market and a summary of that analysis work. These 2 elements are going to be really key in building your business. So it's really important you tune back in.
Yeah, there's going to be some good stuff, a lot of stuff. I think people are going to really get into it, and they probably have to go and listen to it a couple of times because we get a lot of information. Ladies and gentlemen, If you have some questions, comments, thoughts, please go down into the comments area here below the YouTube video and ask your questions. Put your comments down below. We really appreciate the feedback. If you have anything you'd like to, feel free even on Facebook to hit Drax or myself up, and we'll definitely get back to you.
Absolutely. We'd love to.
Yeah.
We're here to help you build your business.
That's what it's all about. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching tonight. We will be back with the second part here at our next show. I'm John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV, and this is Dr. Drax from the ADJA. Thanks for watching. Good night.